Edward Jenner was born on May 17th, 1749 in England. He came specifically from a place called Berkeley, Gloucestershire, or wherever the Hobbit came from. So, for our purposes, this is what our Edward Jenner is going to look like. Not because I can't draw, just that's what he looked like. So let's get on with his life. At the early age of 14, Edward Jenner was apprenticed to a local surgeon and worked in London, but eventually returning to his hometown as a doctor. But when he gets back, he's like, whoa, that guy's dead, and that guy's dead, that guy's dead, that guy's dead. Why are all these guys dead? Like, what's up with that? So it's pretty well known at this time that the cause of all these deaths is a deadly disease that they call smallpox. So, like any good doctor, Edward thinks, what can I do to solve this outbreak of smallpox? And so he's out there thinking, he's thinking, and he comes up with nothing. And therefore, in 1796, Edward Jenner, he thinks, I'm gonna kill a cow, I'm gonna stick its guts in a kid, and it's gonna be a vaccine, it's gonna cure him. Okay, admittedly, there was some science behind Edward's research. He had heard among farmers and the sort that people who contracted the mild disease cowpox, which had flu-like symptoms that would never kill a person, they never contracted the much more deadly disease smallpox. So what he was trying to do was give a kid cowpox and see if they would or would not contract smallpox. And so Edward performed a very famous experiment on a young child by the name of James Phipps, where he attempted to give the boy immunity to smallpox by putting cow pus in his arm. So while this James kid did eventually get sick from cowpox, he never actually suffered from smallpox. And Jenner had proved that he had successfully caused Phipps to become immune to smallpox, and he published his findings. However, in response, a bunch of people were like, ew, no way, I don't want that in my kid. The scientist claimed that he had not conducted enough research and advised him to go back and test his theory on more kids. Members of the clergy claimed that putting material from a dead animal into a human was unholy and outright rejected such practices. One example is a satirical cartoon that displays vaccinated individuals sprouting cow heads. But Edward wasn't going to give up. He went back to perform his experiment on many other children, including his own son. He eventually convinced enough people of the advantages of his primitive vaccinations that the practice soon became widespread. He coined the term vaccination from the Latin word for cow, vacca. And so Edward Jenner is known today as the creator of vaccines. However, there will always be those who say,
I mean, just the other day, 2 years old, 2.5 years old, a beautiful child, went to have the vaccine and came back and a week later got a tremendous fever, got very, very sick, now is autistic.
But that's a story for another day.